Welcome back. In this video, let's start talking about how we can add more interactivity to our components, okay? So this is something you will do all the time. All right, so we have this button component, and typically button, what do you do with a button? You click on a button. Okay, how do we click on a button and execute some kind of action, okay? So we've already seen that we can assign props and pass them in. Well, it's really the same thing, right? So any kind of button is going to have basically the same types of, especially like a bootstrap button, it's going to have the exact same, like callbacks, interactive functions that a normal button would have. For example, if I were writing just vanilla JavaScript and I had like an HTML button and I was trying to uh, do something when it was clicked, you would look for the onClick handler, essentially, right? So you're going to see, I put a space in here and it's already trying to help me fill out whatever prop that I need. And we're going to see down here that we have an onClick property. We have an onChange property. We have onSubmit. So there's all these properties are like on focus, on mouse down, on key up, on key down. Like there's all these different things that you can attach to and do stuff. So for example, I have a button. I want to do something when it's clicked. I use the onClick handler like so. And then this prop here is going to take some kind of callback function that needs to execute when the button is clicked. So let's go ahead and just make it super dirt simple. Let's just write an alert. And it's going to be like, hello, you clicked me. Okay, and we're going to see that it doesn't like this because it expects a pure function to be passed into it. And so what we can do here is we can just create a basic arrow function, like so. And if you're not familiar with arrow functions, I'm just going to Control-Alt-L here to format my code here. But if you're not familiar with arrow functions, right? So this is our prop, and we're making just a basic arrow function. And so we have like nothing in the our parentheses here, and then we have an arrow. And then for an arrow function here, especially if there's only one line of code here, we don't need to wrap this in curly braces. We can just leave this without curly braces if we want. And it'll just execute this one statement here for us. In contrast, if we wanted to do more stuff, we could wrap this in curly braces like so, and then have another alert, like so. Okay, but that's probably getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, and we don't really need that right now, so I'm just going to reformat this real quick. Like so, and then we're going to save this, and I'm going to pull up our window here, and I'm going to click Show Button here, and it says, hello, you clicked me. All right, so that's basically how you interact with most components. You're going to pass some kind of prop down into it. Then you need to have some kind of function that is going to be executed. So this is one way to do it. What I personally prefer to do here is I would write an onClick handling function myself. So I would have inside here, I would have a function onClick like so. That has the same name here as it does here. And then so I have my own function here. And then I would have this in here like so. And then you would just pass the function on, such as onClick like so. And to me, this is a little bit cleaner because I have a clear separation between my two things, right? How I think about components are like this, right? Once you return stuff, like this is the visual thing, and I try to keep this to as much as the visual stuff as I can. And then above that is where a lot of the component logic is, or I may even split the component logic out into a completely another file called a controller. And we'll get into that later, but this is a typical way that I would write it. Now, I mean, you can debate whether or not it's worth putting like one line of code and its own separate function or whatever, but for sure, if it's more than like one line of code, I would say 100% write it like this. It just keeps things so much cleaner. But if it's just like one line of code, it's up to you. Depends on your style and whether or not you want to put it in there. Okay. So that would be my recommendation to you. And so that's how you add basic interactivity to a component. Okay. So we're going to see a lot more of how to handle this in the future as we write some little demo applications. So don't worry about it too much right now, but you have the information. And I'll see you in the next video.